Hey guys, we're coming back from Kenrich Products here in the great Pacific Northwest, Portland, Oregon. This video we're doing now on the GP3 specifically is a troubleshooting video, informational video, tidbits, whatever you want to call it, to help you better know and understand the air pump for those first-time users of the Kenrich Products GP-3A. Metal body and or plastic body. One of the big things I want to touch off on is the pump itself. Obviously, we build, assemble, and test here and on site in Portland in our facility. We do, as we say in our manuals and on the phone when people call, we do preset factory settings. So when you receive your pump, they will be set at the max of 60 psi, which I'll show you in a moment. And then from there, once you start working and pumping your grout, whether you're using the 1.5 inch, the 1 inch reducer kit, or the 3/4, you can make adjustments accordingly. But right out the hatch, I would recommend not touching any of the controls and get familiar with your pump. Take it outside, fill it with hose water, run it, pump it to get familiar with it. But do not mess with your settings, I recommend, until you get your grout pumping and flowing. Then you can adjust depending on your workstation or what you're doing or what it calls for. The air is plugged in. We're going to turn it on. Charging the system. Okay. Just real quick, I'll fast forward. When you're shutting it off and you're done, do not disconnect your air until you bleed out your system. You don't want this charged. And obviously, that's what it'll sound like when you're discharging all your air. So we're back on. As you can see, we're set at 60 psi, fully charged. And we'll go ahead and run the pump, and I will show you basically adjusting, and you'll see the difference in tone and stroke control. Factory set, when you get it out of your box and you put it on, the way you could tell it's factory set, not only by this, you should be getting 60 strokes in a minute. So 1 stroke per second, give or take. But that's the general 60 strokes per minute, okay? If you're not getting that, then somebody messed with it or it's not set right. Call us and we can help you out. Not a big deal, or figure it out yourself. So now we're going to put it on, and I'm going to show you the difference in controls. I won't talk during that because it's loud. Then I'll come back to you. Start and stop switch. You're charged, you're plugged in, it's on. Here we go. Alrighty, so basically, as you see it shut off, always want to make sure, and it will do it, is your cylinder and your diaphragm will be in the down position, which means it'll have all the grout out of the pump body, more or less. As you've seen during the pumping action, I turned it down, raised it up, turned it down, both air and stroke control. You do not want to go no lower than 30 psi when it's working. If you drop below 30 psi, it has not enough pressure to push your grout, and it won't move anything. It'll just sit there. It'll pump, but it will not move grout. It'll just trickle out ever so slightly. Excuse me. So you want to make sure, again, when you get it out of the box, your test is real easy, as we do. Fill the hopper with water, connect your hose. You'll see it pump out. It surges out as would grout, the same thing. Obviously a little thicker because grout is thicker than water. So anyway, we just wanted to show you that. That's one of the biggest things, is they take it out of the box and they start messing with the controls. They call me and say it's not pumping. In videos and pictures or talking to the customer, I can see that the pump is turned way down, and it shouldn't be that way. It's got to be set and left at factory setting right out of the box, right out of the hatch. The other thing is, my recommendation is, when you get it going and working and it's up and running, your first bucket or your first fill of grout, it's not really a good idea to fill the whole thing, cap it off, and then turn your pump on. My recommendation is turn your pump on as it's running, then slowly start pouring your first bucket of, or pail or whatever, of grout. You always want at least 3/4 to full at all times. The reason why I say doing this right out the hatch is because you want to prime your pump and fill your system with grout. So if a lot of times if you have the grout and you fill the hopper up solid, it will come down, but a lot of times it pushes up against the valve, and as soon as you hit it, it wants to struggle and push the grout through. It can sometimes tendency to lock your flapper valve, rear flapper valve, which will cause you problems. It won't pump correctly, then you're going to call me and say my pump's not working. So again, out of the box, it's factory set. Don't mess with your settings until you're actually moving grout and you want to adjust according to your work or what you're pumping or filling. You want to slow it down, you can do that. We don't recommend going any higher than the factory settings, which we showed you. Grout mixture, fill it, turn it on and then start filling it. When you're water testing, you can fill this with water first, then turn it on, because water is a lot lighter and flowable. It won't lock your flapper valves. Grout tends to do it depending on the viscosity of it. And then again, as I say in the other videos for the GP3s and all our other pumps, the cleaning process is very simple. Shut it off, bleed your air, discharge your hose. But before you do all that, you want to fill it with water again, swish your hand around, get all the residue out, and then pump your pump as you're pumping grout. What you're doing is you're flushing your system out with all the grout, and you won't have a problem the next morning when you come to work. So there's our video on the troubleshooting video for our GP-3A, and I hope that helps. And again, anytime you have any questions, feel free to call in. Thanks for visiting, and hope to see you next time on our new video coming out shortly.